The story takes place in the year 1363 in the city of Samarkand. At that time, Samarkand was the center of government for a Muslim kingdom ruled by the Barlas clan. The clan was led by an emir named Amir Kazgan. Long ago, the Barlas were a powerful confederation of Mongol Turkic nomadic tribes. But about 100 years after the death of Genghis Khan, chaos spread across the Silk Road. In the middle of this unstable era, we are introduced to Timur, a senior military commander from the Barlas clan. Timur has a beloved wife named Aljai, who is the granddaughter of King Kazgan, the ruler of Samarkand. At the same time, a man named Tughluq Khan, a descendant of Genghis Khan, serves as the supreme leader of the Mongols. Tughluq arrives to take control of the southern region, with Samarkand as its center. To make the territory easier to manage, he appoints King Kazgan of the Barlas clan as a subordinate ruler who must obey him. Tughluq's main goal is simple: collect taxes and keep the Silk Road safe. And the difficult task of protecting that route is given to Timur. But one dark night, the palace of Samarkand is suddenly attacked by a group of unknown men. During the attack, they manage to kill King Kazgan, throwing the entire kingdom into chaos. The high-ranking officials in the palace begin to suspect that someone deliberately killed the king in order to seize the throne. They also believe the killer may be trying to create conflict between the Barlas clan and the powerful Mongol Empire. News of the king's death spreads quickly, and soon signs of a much larger conspiracy begin to surface. The news eventually reaches Tughluq Khan, who immediately comes to Samarkand to punish the leader of the Barlas tribe, Haji Barlas. Haji Barlas is suspected of being the man behind the king's murder. Without mercy, Tughluq executes him on the spot. He makes it clear that no one is allowed to disturb his control over Samarkand. After that, Tughluq plans to appoint his own son, Ilyas, as the new king of Samarkand, replacing Kazgan. But before his son takes the throne, Tughluq decides to summon Timur to discuss the plan. At that time, Timur and his soldiers are away on duty as security forces known as Bagatur. Their job is to protect merchants traveling along the Silk Road from attacks by raiders. One afternoon, a group of merchants from Samarkand, led by a businessman named Yasur, travels along the Silk Road toward China. They are transporting a very valuable cargo, black powder, or gunpowder, which is used to create explosives. But in the middle of their journey, they are suddenly ambushed by a ruthless group of Persian raiders. As members of the Bagatur, Timur and his soldiers immediately move in to protect the merchants. It does not take long for Timur and his men to defeat the attackers. And it is soon revealed that the raider group is led by a woman named Banu. Banu is a Zoroastrian, a follower of the ancient Persian religion, and she is known for being an incredibly intelligent leader. After the battle ends, Timur invites Jasur to rest at his military camp. And it is there that we are introduced to a man named Hussein ibn Musallab. Hussein is the grandson of the late King Kazgan, as well as the older brother of Aljai, Timur's wife. Because of his royal bloodline, Hussein believes he is the rightful heir to the Barlas kingdom. He is known as a stubborn and highly ambitious man who dreams of becoming the sole ruler of Samarkand. The next day, things become even clearer when a cavalry unit led by Ilyas arrives at Timur's camp. Ilyas explains that he has come to escort Timur back to Samarkand to meet his father. This immediately causes people to question why Tughluq Khan is summoning Timur instead of Hussein, the man many consider the legitimate heir to the throne. Deep down, Timur is also uneasy about answering the summons, but he has no choice. Tughluq is the supreme Mongol ruler, and Timur must obey his command. Just before leaving, Timur learns that his wife is pregnant with their first child. Aljai becomes deeply worried, sensing that this summons may put her husband's life in danger. Even so, Timur tries to reassure her. He believes Tughluq is an honorable ruler who would never harm someone loyal to him. Not long after that, Timur departs alongside Ilyas and his special forces. He is accompanied by his trusted bodyguard, Elchi. When they finally arrive in Samarkand, the people welcome Timur with great excitement. It is clear that the citizens have missed him greatly. Soon after, Timur meets Tughluq Khan face to face. Without wasting any time, Tughluq announces that he plans to make his son Ilyas the new ruler of Samarkand. And with that decision, the long-standing power of the Barlas clan is about to be taken away. But the fall of one dynasty was about to create something far greater. This is Rise of the Conqueror. During the meeting, Tughluq Khan asks only one thing from Timur. He wants Timur to become the personal advisor of Ilyas. Tughluq openly admits that his son is still not wise enough to rule on his own. Because of that, Timur has no choice but to accept the offer. After all, he is known as the most loyal man to the Mongol Empire. Many people now see Timur as a traitor to his own clan. But what they do not realize is that Timur has been quietly preparing a much bigger plan behind all of this. He is using his loyalty to the Mongols as a way to protect peace and keep ordinary people safe. After the appointment, Tughlaq Khan returns to his main palace in the north. That same night, a grand celebration is held to honor Ilyas as the new king of Samarkand. At the party, Timur reunites with Jasur, the merchant he once saved on the Silk Road. Jasur tries to warn him that Ilyas and the Mongol soldiers are secretly planning to remove Timur from power. But Timur does not pay much attention to the warning. In his mind, he does not serve Ilyas. He only follows the orders of Tughlaq Khan, a man he still believes would never betray him. Unfortunately, Jasur's warning turns out to be true. During the celebration, Timur and his bodyguard are secretly poisoned by Ilyas. Almost instantly, Timur feels his body growing weak as his vision begins to blur. And the moment Timur becomes defenseless, hidden Mongol soldiers suddenly reveal themselves and attack both him and Elchi. A brutal fight breaks out. Even while weakened by the poison, Timur and Elchi continue fighting with everything they have. During the battle, Timur suffers severe injuries to his right arm and right leg. But just in time, Jasur appears and helps Timur escape through a secret passage. Jasur even gives him his horse so he can survive. Sadly, Elchi is killed during the fight while protecting Timur. As Timur flees toward the south, his mind is filled with worry about his wife, fearing that she may already be in danger, and his fears quickly become reality. When he finally arrives at his camp, he is devastated to find the entire place destroyed and abandoned. The only thing left behind is a chess piece belonging to his wife, a gift he once gave her. At that moment, Timur can only assume that both his wife and unborn child have been killed. The poison from the night before continues affecting him, pushing him closer to hallucinations. But even in the middle of his grief, Mongol soldiers continue hunting him down. Timur fights back fiercely and manages to kill several of them. Then suddenly a mysterious group arrives and saves him. It turns out to be the same Persian raiders led by Banu, the woman who once attacked Jasur's caravan. After rescuing him, they take Timur to their hidden base high in the mountains. At the mountain hideout, Timur is treated until he finally recovers from the deadly poison. And during his time there, he begins to understand who Banu truly is. Banu turns out to be a Persian Zoroastrian sorceress who leads people from many different regions as raiders along the Silk Road. But for her, robbery is more than simple crime. She sees it as a form of protest against rulers who abuse their power and allow injustice to spread. Banu cannot accept a world where the wealth from trade is enjoyed only by kings and the rich, while ordinary people continue to suffer. In the end, everything she does is driven by her desire to fight for justice for her people. After hearing her views, Timur realizes that he and Banu stand on opposite sides. After all, Timur has spent his entire life protecting the Silk Road under Mongol command. Eventually, Timur decides to leave the camp, even though he can barely walk, and the pain in his injured arm is still unbearable. Around that time, Timur reunites with a man named Kai Khosroes, a former high-ranking officer from the kingdom of Samarkand during the reign of King Kazgan. Timur tells him everything that has happened, from the betrayal in Samarkand to being rescued by Banu and sheltered by the raiders. It turns out that Khosroes has always supported the idea of Timur becoming king after Kazgan's death. But Timur always refused because he believed Hussein was the rightful heir to the throne. After much persuasion from Khosroes, Timur finally agrees to stay at the raider camp a little longer until his wounds fully heal and he can prepare his revenge against Ilyas. While living in exile, Timur spends his time training with weapons and sharpening his combat skills. During this period, he also meets a Christian warrior from Scotland named James, and it is James who gives Timur the nickname that will follow him forever, Timur the Lame Knight. Months pass, and Timur slowly adapts to life among the raiders as his body regains its strength. But even after recovering, his right leg never fully heals, leaving him permanently crippled. One day, Banu's raiders capture another group of merchants, and among the prisoners, Timur is shocked to find Jasur. Seeing Jasur again reminds Timur of the revenge he still carries in his heart. Not long after that, Timur makes a bold decision. He frees the prisoners and escapes with them to the region of Khorasan. There, he plans to reunite with the royal family who have taken refuge in the area. But unexpectedly, Timur discovers that his wife is still alive. Even more surprising, she has already given birth to their first son. Eventually, Timur reunites with the rest of the royal family as well. Hussein is completely shocked to see that Timur survived. And without wasting any time, Hussein immediately invites Timur to launch an attack on Samarkand and take back the kingdom from Ilyas. At first, Timur hesitates. On one side, he does not want to betray Tughluq Khan, but on the other, he still burns with anger toward Ilyas for poisoning him and trying to have him killed. After thinking carefully about everything, Timur finally agrees to Hussein's plan. He immediately begins preparing a strategy by taking advantage of Ilyas's absence from Samarkand. At that time, Ilyas has returned to Mongol territory because Tughluq Khan is gravely ill. Timur quickly gathers as many men as possible to join the fight. But instead of relying only on brute force, he comes up with a brilliant plan to frighten the enemy into surrendering without massive bloodshed. During the night, Timur and his soldiers light massive fires around the city of Samarkand. From a distance, the flames make his army appear enormous and impossible to defeat. Terrified by what they believe is an overwhelming force, the officials of Samarkand, including the traitors from the Barlas clan, eventually surrender. And just like that, Samarkand falls back into their hands. But after the victory, Hussein begins to reveal his true nature. Despite the enemy already surrendering, he orders the execution of every Barlas traitor. This act shows just how cruel and power-hungry Hussein truly is. Timur is furious because, according to their beliefs, killing people who have already surrendered is a terrible sin. But there is no time left for arguments. Sooner or later, Ilyas will return with a much larger Mongol army to reclaim Samarkand. And at the same time, Ilyas officially becomes the new supreme leader of the Mongols after the death of Tughluq Khan. News of the rebellion spreads rapidly, and Ilyas soon learns that the Barlas forces have seized control of Samarkand. A few days later, Timur receives reports that Ilyas and a massive Mongol army are already marching toward them to launch a counterattack. Without wasting any time, Timur, who is already known as a brilliant military strategist, immediately prepares for war against tens of thousands of Mongol soldiers. Even though his forces are far smaller, Timur is determined to use every advantage he can find to balance the battlefield. One of his greatest advantages comes from Jasur and the resources he provides. Timur decides to use primitive Chinese firearms powered by gunpowder, weapons specially prepared to stop the front lines of the Mongol cavalry during close-range attacks. At the same time, Timur orders Hussein to lead the cavalry forces and prepare an ambush from the left flank. The plan is for Hussein and his riders to stay hidden and launch a surprise attack as soon as Timur gives the agreed signal. Before long, the two armies finally meet near Samarkand, in a valley surrounded by mountains. At that moment, Timur's eyes are filled with deep hatred toward Ilyas. And without hesitation, Ilyas immediately orders the first wave of his army to attack. The Mongol cavalry charges forward again and again. Under the scorching heat of the day, the Mongol forces push hard to break through Timur's lines. Go! Even though Timur's army is heavily outnumbered, they refuse to fall easily. Thanks to the careful strategy and discipline prepared by Timur, his forces manage to withstand wave after wave of Mongol attacks. And then, the battle suddenly begins to shift. The primitive firearms brought by Timur's army prove devastating against the Mongol front lines. The explosions and volleys tear through the enemy ranks, forcing the Mongols to temporarily retreat. But just as victory begins to feel possible, the weather suddenly changes. The clear skies turn dark, and heavy rain begins pouring across the battlefield. For the Barlas army, this becomes a complete disaster. Their firearms rely on burning fuses, and the rain quickly renders the weapons useless. Realizing the opportunity, Ilyas immediately orders an all-out assault. The Mongol army surges forward with full force. Even so, Timur refuses to panic. If the battle must now be fought at close range, he still places his hope in Hussein's cavalry, who have been hiding behind the hills waiting to launch their surprise attack. Timur gives the signal for Hussein to move in and help, but at the very moment Timur's soldiers are being overwhelmed by the full strength of the Mongol infantry, Hussein betrays him. Without warning, Hussein refuses to come to his aid. He completely abandons Timur and instead rides back towards Samarkand to secure the city for himself. Timur is utterly devastated. One by one, he watches his soldiers get slaughtered, including Jasur, who dies during the battle. Amid the tragic defeat, Timur narrowly escapes death after his body becomes buried beneath piles of fallen soldiers. preventing the Mongols from discovering him. After surviving the battlefield, Timur manages to escape from Samarkand and rides away alone. In his mind, his duty is finished. He now intends to return to Khorasan to reunite with his family, even though the pain of Hussein's betrayal continues to haunt him. At the same time, Ilyas and the Mongol army advance towards Samarkand to launch a full assault on the city. And in those final moments, Hussein's leadership completely collapses. Without Timur by his side, he proves incapable of resisting the Mongol attack. Meanwhile, far away from the destruction, Timur finally arrives at the Barlas camp in the region of Khorasan. As soon as Timur arrives at the camp, he is greeted with terrible news. His wife's condition has grown much worse because of an infection caused by the injuries she suffered during the Mongol attack. In the end, the woman he loves most finally passes away. Her death completely destroys Timur's spirit. Feeling as though he has lost all hope, he chooses to isolate himself from the world and abandon the life he now sees as cruel and full of suffering. At that point, he even leaves his young son behind to be raised by his sister-in-law, Sarai Khanum, the wife of Hussein. It is then revealed that Sarai is actually a Mongol princess with direct blood ties to Genghis Khan himself. And around the same time, Timur learns a painful truth that Sarai has kept hidden for years. The true mastermind behind the murder of King Khan was none other than Hussein himself. That revelation shatters Timur even further. For a long time, Timur completely distances himself from worldly affairs. But deep inside, he continues thinking about one thing: how to bring peace, justice, and an end to the endless chaos consuming the land. Then suddenly an idea begins to form in his mind. Timur remembers the words of his late father, Taragai, who once spoke of a prophecy from a dream. In that dream, Timur would conquer Samarkand and destroy injustice with a blazing sword. From that moment on, Timur begins preparing a grand plan. He sets out for Samarkand to confront Hussein once and for all. But before leaving, he secretly meets Bahnu and her raider forces to ask for their help. Eventually, Timur manages to enter Samarkand through the same secret route he once used to escape the city. There he comes face to face with Hussein and confronts him about the murder of King Kazgan, his own grandfather. And through Hussein's arrogance, Timur finally receives the answer he has been searching for all this time. Hussein truly believes Kazgan was unfit to rule and that he alone deserved the throne of Samarkand. At that moment, every remaining doubt inside Timur disappears. Now, he knows exactly what must be done. Without hesitation, Timur surrenders himself to Ilyas, who is staying at his military camp outside the gates of Samarkand. While inside the camp, Timur tries to understand Ilyas's perspective as the leader of the Mongol ruling clan. But the answer he finds is no different from Hussein's. Just like Hussein, Ilyas only cares about power and wealth while ignoring the suffering of the people. And then everything suddenly falls into place. It turns out that Timur has secretly been working together with Bahnu and the raiders all along. Together, they successfully poisoned the entire Mongol camp. In that very moment, Timur personally executes Ilyas with his own hands. As the son of Taragai and a man with Mongol blood, Timur now declares himself the new supreme ruler of the Mongols, replacing Ilyas as the successor of Tughluq Khan from the Chagatai clan. At first, many people question his right to lead because Timur is not directly descended from Genghis Khan. But that problem is solved after Timur marries Sarai Khanum, the widow of Hussein and a true descendant of Genghis Khan. And by that time, Hussein himself has already been executed by Banu, the Persian woman who leads the raiders. In the end, Timur successfully rises as the leader of the Mongol forces in Asia and the ruler of the Barlas clan with the title of Emir. With this achievement, Timur establishes the Timurid dynasty and begins his rise as one of the greatest conquerors in history, expanding his power across the kingdoms of Asia. So the moral of the story is never trust a guy named Hussein during group projects, because bro will wait until the rain starts before betraying the whole team.